FNN News, Finfine News Network, and I am your host, Sibel. Over the weekend, the FNN received news that indicates that the OLA killed over 200 and injured more than 300 Prosperity Party forces located in the Central, South, and Western Oromia zones. The OLA in the West Guji zone in the Bulehora district killed 40, and that includes Lieutenant Akilio Tsegaye Nigate, and they also injured 30 Prosperity Party troops today in fighting that lasted between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. The OLA in the East Guji zone in the Sababoru district started ambushing 4 Prosperity Party patrol cars and ended up destroying an unidentified number of enemy forces that were on board. That happened today. And among those who were present on the 4 patrol cars, 6 have died and 8 were injured. Meanwhile, the OLA in the Guji zone has also reported killing over 25 and injuring 24 Prosperity Party forces in fighting at a different location, other various locations yesterday. Prosperity Party forces that recently entered Gidami town reportedly were encircled by the OLA in Western Oromia. And there is also an intense conflict going on reportedly between OLA and Prosperity Party forces in Central Oromia. We have some reports that have not yet been verified that the OLA in Gindabaret in the West Shawa zone have captured over 9 Ethiopian government cabinets, and will continue to loop back and verify if that information ends up being correct. In other news on the OLA, the Oromo Liberation Front, the Oromo Federalist Congress, and the Ogden National Liberation Front have rejected the Prosperity Party's national dialogue, stating that they don't think it meets basic criteria for a national dialogue. So we'll put up the Addis Standard report coming out today on that response from these three groups. So the OFC and the ONLF declined to attend a meeting that was convened by Speaker of the House of People's Representatives Tagese Chafo to discuss the dialogue, while the OLF was not invited to participate in that at all. And this comes after the House released a short list of 42 publicly nominated names to lead the National Dialogue Commission that came out late last week. So in response to this news story, OFC Chairman Merera Gudina sent a letter to the Prime Minister stating that he believed that the commission was not gathered together impartially, and he had concerns about full inclusivity in the proposed national dialogue. And he told the Addis Standard here in this story that he had not received a response after he sent out his letter. Meanwhile, the OFC's secretariat, Tirune Gemta, also wrote that, quote, the dialogue should be commissioned by accepted bodies by the public, if not by internationally recognized independent bodies. However, the fact that the dialogue is overseen by the parliament led by the ruling party will not bring a lasting solution, as it will not include opposition parties as well as armed groups. And on the part of the ONLF, ONLF Chairman Abdi Mahdi has also echoed that the ONLF sees these dialogue participants as what he called a one-party affair that has effectively sidelined key members of the multinational Federal Democratic Alliance. And he, for his part, told the Standard that, quote, the hope of starting a genuine dialogue that could find a viable solution to all injustices and political quagmire in Ethiopia is in jeopardy. A one-party affair will never address the current political crisis in Ethiopia. And this comes after the ONLF held its annual meeting between January 17th and January 20th, and its executive committee came out of that releasing a statement that it was in fact willing to participate in a dialogue if that dialogue was in accordance with sufficient international standards and seemed to be free from discrimination. However, it seems like now the ONLF is also joining with the OFC in rejecting this proposed national dialogue. In other news on the OLF recently put out a press statement slamming the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission's investigation of the Karayu massacre as an instance of selective investigation of human rights abuses. We'll put up that press statement released from the OLF. So this report was convened on the part of the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission to investigate the murder of multiple people in Karayu, including the Abagada of that specific area in the East Showa zone of Oromia. So this statement accuses this report from the Ethiopia Human Rights Commission of conning the international community into inferring that the regime is capable of organizing an independent commission under its control, attempting to convince Oromos that the regime makes an effort to ensure the safety and security of the Oromo people, and using the report to score regional political points. So as of right now, now that this report has been rejected by the OLF, it remains to be seen whether full transparency will be achieved in terms of accounting for what happened during the Karayu massacre. And in news on the Tigray region, a group of Tigrayan civilians has filed a lawsuit with the African Commission on Human and People's Rights against Prime Minister Abiy's government this week, accusing it of multiple and serious human rights violations. This lawsuit, this group of Tigrayans is being represented by a law organization known as Legal Action Worldwide. And here, according to these court documents filed, it states, quote, Ethiopia is responsible for a wide range of human rights violations under the African Charter, including military targeting of civilians and civilian infrastructure, mass and extrajudicial killings, gender-based sexual violence, arbitrary arrest, and detention. And the complaint is demanding that the African Commission order Ethiopia to halt any continued human rights abuses against Tigrayan citizens and open access to food and humanitarian aid. Of course, FNN has received multiple reports of the harm that has been done by the maintenance of effectively a barricade that does not allow food and humanitarian aid to enter into the Tigray region, even as the government continues to launch airstrikes against that region. And in other international news, specifically on U.S.-Ethiopia relations, New Jersey Congressman Tom Malinowski has introduced a bill called the Ethiopia Stabilization, Peace, and Democracy Act. That just came out today. We'll put up a copy of this bill here, introduced by a U.S. Representative Tom Malinowski. So this bill is aiming to unite various different U.S. government agencies that have previously functioned not in unity or collaboration. He's trying to unite these various agencies to encourage the ending of the civil war in Ethiopia, as well as other conflicts going on, and also to attempt to pursue some accountability for gross violations of internationally recognized human rights, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide, and also to encourage further engagement with international partners. So this bill, which has not been passed yet, but it was set to be considered by the House Foreign Affairs Committee today. So we'll continue to update our audience, of course, on its progress through Congress. So here, referring to the strategy proposed by this bill, that the Secretary of State, along with the Administrator of the United States Agency for International Development, and the Secretary of the Treasury, several of those agencies who so far in imposing sanctions on Ethiopia, etc., have not worked in unison, and the heads of other relevant federal departments and agencies, as it states here, will develop a unified and coordinated strategy to support any efforts to end the civil war and other conflicts in Ethiopia. And that is all of our coverage today. We'll continue to update our audience on further developments in U.S. Ethiopia relations and this bill's progress through Congress, as well as the lawsuit that has just been launched. And the progress, of course, of the national dialogue, even as multiple members, multiple large groups in the country have rejected the premise of what has been proposed so far. So once again, thank you for watching FNN News, FNN News Network, and I am your host, Sibel.